Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today, gonna discuss the what's next on Daniel Roman, the former unified super bantamweight champion at 122 pounds. You had Roman returned and took on, I want to say the guy's name was Estrada. He took him on May 15th, I believe. And they fought, and Roman pretty much cemented himself for hopefully a future title shot. Stayed busy, got a clean win. It was a competitive fight, but he won most of the rounds, walked away with a 10-round unanimous decision, and stayed on his roll towards hopefully another title shot. I mean, I still have Roman ranked number 3 at 122. He is a former unified champ. And shit, at the start of January of 2020, he was the number 1 super bantamweight in the world. So he's only a year and some change removed from that since his loss to Mirajan Akhmadaliev, which was only by a split decision. So Roman's still very much in the game at 122 and a dangerous fighter. So now the big question following his victory is what's next for Daniel Roman, the former unified champ. 1 second. Gonna run through the top 10 and see what possible options are out there for Roman heading into the second half of the year. So we start with the number 1 fighter in the division, and that is Mirajan Akhmadaliev. That would be a rematch for Roman. That fight doesn't look likely, as the WBA already ordered Akhmadaliev to face Ronnie Rios, former world title challenger, which would be a mandatory defense for Akhmadaliev. So doesn't look likely that Roman will fight Akhmadaliev in a rematch, even though I'd love to see it. Number 2 is now the undefeated Brandon Figueroa, who holds the WBC and WBA belts. I don't see this fight happening because Figueroa just beat Luis Nery to win the WBC belt and add it to his WBA regular belt. And I don't see a fight with Roman because Figueroa, after winning and prior to that, the winner was basically guaranteed a shot against undefeated WBO champion Stephen Fulton Jr. Now, the only thing that could hold that fight up and cause Figueroa to possibly face Roman next is if the WBO comes in and mandates Michael Conlan, who just won a WBO eliminator, if they mandate him to fight Stephen Fulton next. That's the only way I could see Figueroa and Roman fighting for the world title in the second half of the year. So it's possible, but I don't think it's likely. Number 4 is former world title challenger Azat Havanassian. He fights for Golden Boy, and I don't see the WBA ordering a final eliminator here. Roman's ranked high in the WBC and the WBA, so I'm just not seeing the WBA mandating this fight right here. And if they did, I think Roman would avoid it and go fight in a WBC final eliminator. So I don't see Roman locking horns with Havanassian. Number 5 now is I believe it is the undefeated Stephen Fulton Jr. I'm moving him all the way up to number 5. It was being talked about, but now that they have guaranteed Brandon Figueroa to fight Stephen Fulton pretty much to unify belts, unless the WBO comes in and says no because they mandate Fulton to fight Michael Conlan, then Stephen Fulton is going to fight Figueroa, and I just don't see Daniel Roman coming off unless a Conlan fight can't be made. So I'm thinking that it's highly unlikely that we're going to see, I just don't see, even though they both fight for the PBC, I don't see Roman and Fulton locking horns. So number 6, I believe I have Luis Nery now at number 6 overall. I think I have him at number 6. So, I don't see Nery coming off a knockout loss to Figueroa. I don't see him taking on a fighter the caliber of Daniel Roman. I mean, you never know what can happen, but they both are PBC guys. But I think Nery, this is his first loss. It was a knockout loss. I think now him and Roman are kind of going in the opposite direction. That'd be a high-risk fight for him to take coming off that knockout loss to Figueroa. You know, he wasn't doing bad in that fight. He just got worn down, and he got caught with a huge body shot that crippled him. And I just don't see him and Roman locking horns. I wouldn't completely rule it out because, like I said, same promoter, but I'm not seeing it. So number 7 is former world title challenger Ronnie Rios. Not going to happen. Rios is lined up for a mandatory shot against unified champ Murodjon Akhmadaliev next. So him and Roman is not possible. Number 8 is the undefeated Michael Conlan. Now, I don't think this fight's going to happen, but here's how I think it could be possible. So Conlan won a final eliminator. He beat Ionu Baluta to become, pretty much he should be the WBO's mandatory number 1 contender. Now, he might not get the shot at the champion Stephen Fulton next because it looks like Fulton and Brandon Figueroa are going to unify titles after Figueroa beat Luis Neri. Now, if the WBO wants to call for an interim title fight, they could call Roman and Michael Conlan to fight, but it's Top Rank working with the PBC. So I'm just leaning towards, I don't see that happening, especially with Roman being highly ranked in the other governing bodies. I don't know if he wants to take the risk against a guy like Conlan and crossover promotions to do it when he has easier options within the PBC to take to get that title shot. So I would love to see the fight. I'm not completely ruling it out, but I don't think it's going to happen. Now, number 9 is Ionu Baluta, contender at 122. I'm not seeing this one. I mean, I wouldn't completely rule it out again, but Baluta coming off a loss, he's a tough out for anybody. He beat a guy that Roman barely beat in TJ Doheny, and he battled Michael Conlan all the way down to the wire in a very close fight that could have went either way. So I'm going to lean towards the no right here and say that Roman and Baluta just not possible. Wouldn't make sense. And finally, at number 10 is former IBF champion Ryosuke Iwasa. You know, Iwasa's worked with the PBC plenty of times over the last couple of years. I wouldn't be surprised if Iwasa got the shot, in Roman locked horns. Iwasa's coming off of a loss to Akhmadaliev, where the fight got stopped prematurely in a fight he was competing in or competitive in. He was losing the fight, but it was only in the 5th round. He got stunned a little bit, and Akhmadaliev was hitting him with some shots, but he was still throwing back, and then the ref jumped in the way. So it's kind of surprising, but most people feel, myself included, that Akhmadaliev had built up a lead and he was gonna win that fight anyways. But the 5th round is very early to tell for sure. So Iwasa might want to jump right back in the mix, and a fight against the caliber of Daniel Roman would be a good one. Now, would Roman want to take a risk against a guy like Iwasa in his next fight while he is trying to line himself up for a title shot? I'm not sure. So that's the top 10, and next for Roman, it's just unclear. Most of the top 10 options don't look likely. Either the guys that are there that you really want to see him fight, they're not available next, or some of the other guys you'd want to see him fight, he might not want to take a risk against those guys because he's waiting around for that big title shot. So we're going to see. I hope Roman gets into a big fight next. I hope we see him in a big contenders bout, a final eliminator next. But I'm starting to lean towards he's going to fight a middle-of-the-road type guy in some kind of final eliminator to line himself up for the winner of Brandon Figueroa and Stephen Fulton Jr. I mean, it's not a bad plan, but I just would like to see Roman, since I do believe he's top-level competition at 122, I would like to see him step it up. But, hey, I mean, that's what a lot of these guys do. They take low risk to get back to a title shot. Roman's already been a unified champ. He is right at the top of 122, a couple of the governing bodies. So I don't think he wants to really take too high of a risk in a contenders bout. I think he'd rather take that risk in a title fight. So we just got to wait and see what he decides to do. But that's the what's next on Daniel Roman, the former unified super bantamweight world champion. I hope you guys enjoyed it. True Boxing, you've been hit with the truth.